Hey guys, how do you like that the new music there when you're waiting for me to start? I'm getting better at this, slowly but surely. All right, so welcome to my Saturday night stream. I've never done one of these before, at least not Saturday night. Uh, Usually I do like Saturday afternoons, so I figure why not try a Saturday night? I don't know if I'm going to have more viewers. I don't know if I'm going to have less. I just assume most of you guys have a better life than I do. So you guys are actually out with friends or partying or on dates or whatever, while I'm just sitting here by myself drawing elf girls in bathing suits. Oh, that makes me sound so sad. Well, anyway. Well, that's what we're working on tonight. First, we're going to finish this commission that I started yesterday. All we have to do is just finish rendering the colors. And then, once we do that, we're going to move over to this commission. If you guys remember from yesterday, I had finished sketching this yesterday, but I needed approval from the client before I can move forward, make sure I didn't forget anything, make sure I didn't... mess up any of the details for the character or whatever. I always, whenever I do a commission, I always allow them the chance to make any significant changes that I might have messed up on, especially when I'm doing other people's characters. I obviously don't know every character that exists, especially original characters. So, maybe I don't have the legs right or the boot details or whatever. And so before I start inking or anything like that, I wanted to give them the chance to say, you need to fix this, you need to change that. But that thankfully wasn't the case here. He loved it, so we're going to work on inking on this a little bit later. But first, let's finish this piece here. So let's start with the shadows. You'll notice I made a little bit of difference when I was working on this yesterday. I had the flats look something like this. Excuse me. Now, this looks totally fine, but once I started adding in some of the color, it was... it just wasn't doing it for me. So I kind of shifted a little bit, made it look like this. I think this looks a bit better. So we're going to get back into it. So let's do the shadows here. Problem with not having my flats there, I can't reliably just use the lasso tool to the magic wand tool just to select all one color very quickly. So this is going to be a little bit of a pain. A little bit of extra work, but it won't be so bad. Let me get some music playing for myself so I don't go mad from boredom. Which I know is a weird thing to say. Why would I be bored? I'm drawing. But man, whenever it's just silent with my own thoughts, it's maddening. So that's going to be an issue. Alright. Apologies and pixels. Alright. So since I have such a strong light source coming in, the idea is I'm going to treat as if they were these two different flats and then kind of merge them together, kind of like what I did in the bathing suit. Like you can see how there's a hard edge the way I flatted it, and then I kind of just softened that edge up to make it feel like there's a strong light source coming in on one side. So shadow color. Hey, Karen's in. And so is Sideways. Yeah, Samurai Robot Detective. That's this guy here. We're going to get to him as soon as I'm done with our swimsuit elf. So welcome back, both of you. I'm happy you came back to visit me. What am I doing? So the idea here is first I gotta put in basically the shadows. It's a weird thing to say, but like I gotta put the shadows into the shadows. You still prefer the elf? Well, you know, to each their own. I like this elf quite a bit, I ain't gonna lie. But, you know, robot samurai detectives, that's pretty awesome too, so I can't really lose in this at all. I get to draw two different, very, very different, but very excellent things. But yeah, so as I was saying, first we gotta do kind of the shadow here, but which is obviously a shadow in a shadow is kind of weird. But then on top of that too, I gotta get this kind of a reflected blue coming back into the shadow. I can't just leave it super dark. So there's a lot of lighting things going on with this piece. And even within the shadows, I still have to do highlights. It's a common mistake to think, well, the shadow, it's just going to be the shadow. But you have shadow and light within a range of light spectrum. You guys will see as I go. Oh, the Catwoman? Oh, was that in the images that's kind of rotating on the side there? I don't remember doing the Catwoman. I'm sure I probably did. Hey, maybe these Saturday night ones are good. I got a good chat going. Pick a lighter blue here. Don't want yellow. That's going to make a weird brown on her. So let's keep blue. So let's stick with this blue. I'm going to be shameless for just a sec here. For those of you guys in the chat that care about emotes, if you become a subscriber, at your tier 1 subscriptions, you get these. You can use my wolf emoji here. And then if you're a tier 2 subscriber, you get my death emoji. And I don't have a third tier emoji yet because I haven't ever had any third tier subscribers, so I just haven't taken the time to create one. But you guys, anyone ever subscribes at that tier, I'll happily make a emoji for that. Going here. So are you guys' plans just to hang with me this evening? Or are you guys just kind of killing time until you guys go out? Because I know it's still a little early to, like, you know, go out. I'm your entertainment for this evening. Well, I am honored. Who needs the latest movie when you can watch Show No Draw, right? Good to see my style of art. Okay, alright, good. Probably every artist thinks this, but I never think my art style is anything special. I always feel like it's a poor imitation of better artists. Now, as always, if you guys ever have any questions about my process, or what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, anything like that, feel free to ask. My inner teacher always wants to talk about that sort of thing and teach a thing or two. Of Oblivion? You mean of my comic? Oblivion? Shadows of Oblivion? Oh, where my comic idea comes from? Oh, your English is fine. So, the idea for my comic is... I don't even know how to tell you where to say like it came from an idea, a specific place, it didn't. It just, I guess to boil it down, it's basically an excuse for me to draw all my favorite things. Like I love drawing armor, and fight scenes. I love fantasy, like I love monsters, and just like all your fantasy tropes. I love knights and warriors and heroes fighting against monsters and stuff like that. But I like superheroes are the comics I grew up with. So all that stuff that I like, and I love drawing robots, I love armor, probably already said that. All of that stuff. And so Shadows of Oblivion's kind of an excuse for me to draw all the things I like. As far as the actual story, your primary language is Spanish? Well, that is totally alright. I'm sorry that only I can speak. My only language is English, so you're already doing way better than me too. As far as in the language department goes. I'm just a stupid American that can only speak English. You like robots a lot too? Nice. Probably you'll notice from Cerberus, the main character's design, he has huge boots on his, on his legs. Duh. Where else do boots go? That's very reminiscent of Mega Man's large boots, because again, I like robots, and Mega Man is one of the best robots out there, so that's where that design is inspired from. Oh yeah, fantasy is fantastic. We play D&D every other week. Play a paladin, our D&D game. I agree. It's often tough to mix fantasy with kind of futuristic. One franchise that I think consistently does an awesome job of that is the Final Fantasy series. Like Final Fantasy VII is fantastic for kind of mixing fantasy with sci-fi. Yeah, I do have that Mega Man inspiration throughout. But yeah, even like Final Fantasy VI has a very kind of steampunk sci-fi feeling to it, even though it's a fantasy game. Oh yeah, Mega Man and Mega Man X are so good. I have the Mega Man collection, the first one, the first set of the first 6 games. I have that on my 3DS. I actually haven't played it in a little while, but man, when I first got it, I just went straight through the games. I played 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm halfway through 5 right now. When I was a kid, I never owned 5 or 6, so that game is really, those games are foreign to me, so I'm having a tough time getting through those games. And I refuse to look up a tutorial or like a walkthrough. When I was a kid, there were no walkthroughs. I had to figure out how to play Mega Man on my own. That's how I play. That's how I play the games I haven't played before. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI is brilliant. It's probably one of the best RPGs ever made. Only one I think that's better is Chrono Trigger. a little biased, but I think Chrono Trigger is the best RPG game, period. Video game, I should say. I like a lot of the characters based on those lores. Oh, Final Fantasy and Mega Man? Yeah, absolutely. I am right there with you. Yeah, that's right, Sideways. We didn't have YouTube to walk us through the stuff. Although we did have Nintendo Power, or at least I never had Nintendo Power, but my friends did. So I'd always borrow their Nintendo Powers and find out what tips and tricks were in them. So I guess I cheated a little bit using Nintendo Power. That's how I found out that the weaknesses of some of the Robot Masters. Let's see. A girl that's based on Bubblegum Crisis setting, but she fights Reploids kind of creatures based on a Magnus. Oh, that's cool. Like an original character. Oops. When I moved, my old roommate, he gave me like all his old Nintendo Powers, and I've been wanting to go through them. I haven't really had a chance to, just because they're fantastic. I love the comics that are in them, because I'm a sucker for comics. Use power as well. That's cool. I always find it fascinating. The more commissions I do, I'm introduced to more and more people's original characters. And it's always a fun thing to just see the creativity that everyone has. You know, not everyone has the interest or the desire to, you know, make their own comic or video game or whatever, but they still like to make like fan fictions and just original characters, and I think that's really cool. And then of course there are people that take it the extra step and they actually do make comics and games and stories and fan fictions and all that stuff, and I'm always a big proponent for creativity in any shape, way, or form. Oh, nice. Okay, so that character's like a summoner. That's really cool. Kind of like, also like Yuna in Final Fantasy X. I think she was a summoner, right? Sideways in those Nintendo Powers. Did you ever read the original? I say original, but those the Legend of Zelda and Super Mario stories that came out in the backs, like serialized in the backs of those comics. Yeah, all the fan art every month was awesome too. Oh, next time you come and visit Sideways, let me know. Well, I'll know when you visit. You'll be here. But remind me to show you the Zelda comic. I have it collected in a trade. So how's the shadows looking on her skin, guys? So looking natural, looking good? The funny thing with the Zelda comic is that it's clear that whoever was making it was not well versed in the language of comics, because the word balloons were just all over the place. Very hard to read. And I didn't notice it when I was a kid, but as an adult, oh man. Especially an adult that's trained his life to make comics. Seeing all those errors, I'm like, no! Why are you doing this? It's not like awful, it's not the worst thing, but it's not something you ever see in a manga or professional comic. I think what actually happened is they took the manga from, they took the Japanese version of it, removed the word balloons, and then gave it to someone who knew nothing about making comics and told them to just put the translated word balloons in. And I think that's what happened. It's still good, don't get me wrong. trying to figure out how I want to shade her face. Because what we got to do is kind of do shadows and lighting in the shadow section and do lighting in the light section, and then blur the edge a little bit to kind of give you a bright sense of lighting. And put some lighting effects on after. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, well, thanks for recommending me to your dojo leader, Green Count. I appreciate that. It'd be fun to draw some martial art illustrations. I'm assuming that's what he would want. But I'll keep an eye out for his email. And welcome to the stream, Green Count. Glad you can make it. So I think what we're going to do next is we're going to put in some reflected light into the shadows, and then we're going to put some highlights into the shadows. Maybe those are called lowlights. I don't know what the technical term is. And then we'll handle the light side of her body. We'll do her eyes, her hair, the flowers, and then we'll be done. So I'm guessing, how far are we into this? 30 minutes? So I'm guessing this will probably take me another hour to do. Just for those of you guys who might be have other stuff to do. And then we'll do lighting effects. So, alright, so what I want is, do I want to do, hold on. Actually, okay, hold on. So we gotta do a couple more shadows here. Yeah, I've been all over the place with my streams these last few months. Life has been unexpected, I guess, is the best way to put it. So yeah, I haven't been able to stick to my my original schedule. Not to mention, I've been kind of wanting to try new things too, see when my biggest audience will be around. You know, if I set my schedule to be Tuesday afternoons and no one's around Tuesday afternoon, that's not a great time to stream. So I've been kind of jumping around a little bit, trying to figure out when is the best time to catch everyone on for a stream, or the most people at the very least. Alright, so let's get our reflected color light in here. So I've been using a couple reflected color lights. I've been using this light blue and this kind of greenish blue that's the same color as the water here. The watercolor is just a little too strong for reflected light, so I've been using the pale blue. So that's what I'm about to do here. Right, I think this is working. I think she's starting to look a little bit less flat and a little more 3D. Now, I tell a lot of people, like, it's totally okay if you like using flat colors, if you like using more of the cell shading technique. Not everything has to be realistically rendered or painterly. All just depends on your style. It doesn't even necessarily depend on your style, it just depends on the effects of the art you're going for. You know, different artists, I should say most artists don't have just one style. They have a style that is appropriate for the kind of art they're trying to make. Yeah, another question about Shadows of Oblivion. What do you got? I'm just narcissistic enough to field questions about my comic. All the time. I'll answer questions all day, every day about that. How long have I been working on my comic? Well, alright, let me preface this answer with don't be too impressed with it, the length of time. But I've been working on it. Issue 0 was published in 2010. So it's been almost 10 years I've been working on this comic. But there's only been 5 issues. I've been averaging about an issue every 2 years. Which is not great. It's actually very bad. It started off pretty strong. The first 2 issues came out within somewhere between 3 and 6 months of each other. And then I'd have to look at the actual publication date to be sure. But anyway, so those 2 came out pretty close. And then issue 1 came out, I think, in 2012, early 2012. So I think that was another 6 to 8 months. I forget when issue 2 came out. And then it was like 2 years before issue 3 came out. And it's been definitely at least 2 years, if not, I think we're getting close to 3 years between issue 3 and issue 4. Even though issue 4 is written, and not only written, but laid out, sketched out, and the first 7 pages are penciled, inked, lettered, all that stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a colored comic, but yeah, you're right. I do everything in it. It really, what slows me down is the fact that I'm doing it all on my own and all out of my own pocket. So I have to fund everything. And because I have to fund everything, I have to obviously make that money. But before I can pay for it, first I have to cover my own expenses, like rent and all that stuff. So that's why I take commissions and do other, freelance work, is to make enough money to pay those bills. But I take so much of that, or I need to take so much of that to pay the bills, I don't have time to work on the comic. So the comic just sits there and waits while I do other work. And I love doing the other work. I mean, like, look at what I'm working on now. This is a lot of fun. I'm not complaining. But it's a little frustrating when I have a comic I also want to work on, and I can't because I'm doing other work. That's why things like my Patreon is so important, because the support I get on Patreon becomes a quasi-reliable source of income. And if I can get enough supporters on Patreon, I won't have to take as many commissions. I'll probably take the same amount of commissions because, like I said, I like doing original characters and stuff, but I won't have to take like as much freelance work and all that. Perfect world, I'd be making enough from Patreon to just constantly make comics all day, every day. I have a link down below. Let me look at this page real quick. Yeah, under the donate category, I mean, if you click on donate, you can donate just like a tip, but there's a little link there for Patreon. I was actually, since I think there's enough of you guys watching, I can kind of gauge the room. I recently did a commission where I kind of did like a tutorial video for a person, and I don't know if the person wants me to mention them, so I'll keep them anonymous for now. But so I did did the tutorial video. It was kind of like basically the equivalent of a one-on-one lesson, although the person couldn't respond to me. It was a video. But you know, they asked me to ink and color one of their pieces of art and kind of talk through it to kind of teach them my process while going through it. And I had a good time doing that. I enjoyed doing that. So I was thinking, and I want your guys' opinion, what if I did that as like added a tier on my Patreon for that, like maybe like a $60 tier, and I would do like a 1 hour video of 1 hour tutorial video on whatever subject you wanted each month. Of course, drawing related. I couldn't give you a tutorial on how to make beef Wellington. I don't know, but it would be a drawing tutorial on whatever subject you wanted each month for the $60 tier, plus all the other stuff that you get, you know, at the below tiers, like early access to the comic and digital downloads and all that stuff. So what do you guys think about that? Good idea? Bad idea? So I get one good, sounds good idea. Okay. And feel free to be honest with me, guys. If you think it's a terrible idea, tell me it's a terrible idea. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Because I don't have any feelings. Okay, I have feelings, but that's not the point. I think every patron would get their own hour, but of course I have limited hours in the day, so I would have to put a cap on that. I don't know if I limit to like 5 or 10. I might limit it to 5 at first, see how easy it is, and then if it's when I say easy, I mean how much of a time sink it is. And if it's a huge time sink, I might leave it at 5. And if it's like, oh, that didn't take as much time as I thought it would, maybe open it up to 10. Teaching that kind of tier of tutorial is for people that wants to learn how. Yeah, that's the idea. Is people who want to draw or ink or color, and they just want me to demonstrate how to do something. Since it would only be an hour, it couldn't be anything like super broad, or it could be something super broad, but it could be like part 1 of a super broad topic. Like if it's like, how do you, like if the tutorial was like color theory, I can't cover all of color theory in 1 hour. But if that's something that patron wanted to do, I would talk to them and say, hey, you want to talk about the color wheel, or do you want to talk about picking your color palette? Like, what specifically about colors do you want to do that week? So that's the idea behind it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I would have to limit the tiers because I couldn't have like, 30 people sign up for that tier. Although, as much as I would love the money of 30 people signing up for that tier, um, I wouldn't have the time to do that plus the other rewards. It would have to be pretty limited. Definitely no more than 10. Uh, but I'd probably start at 5 at first. Access to tier. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to make sure I get all the work done. Because, like, the whole idea of Patreon is, to basically get the funds to make the comics. So even if I start getting all the funds to make the comics, but I'm spending all my time doing tutorials instead of comics, it's kind of defeating the purpose. So I think I got all the reflected light in there, so I'm going to add in some highlights now. See, the key here to adding some of these highlights into the shadows is it needs to be lighter, but it can't be too light, or else it's not going to look, it's going to make the lighting look weird. So I'm going to predict that the color I chose is going to be wrong. I won't know what color is right until I try this out, so let's see. I think we need to be more purpley. Let's see. Closer. Oh, I think that's it. I think that's the color I need. Again, I can't be too strong with it because I can't let it overpower the main light source. I also want to avoid having like a hard line here. I want it to be a nice natural looking gradient. set. So we're about an hour in. How's everyone doing? Everyone hanging in there? Everyone having a good Saturday night? Change that in a sec. Still, we're doing good. Doing good. All right. Nice. Yeah, I like playing the Final Fantasy music for my background music. One, because I like it, and two, the composers of this music allow for people to use it for like streams and stuff. So it doesn't get copyright claimed. Which is an issue. It's not a huge issue. It's not like it's gonna cause me to like have my channel shut down or anything. But like on Twitch, if I use copyrighted music, the replay will get muted. And you know, if I'm talking to you guys, there's no point in muting the music. I mean, obviously, there's no point in muting the music, but if music's muted, then no one's going to want to watch the replay. It's not going to make any sense. It's just going to be silent. So using music that won't be copyright claimed allows it to not be muted or anything like that, and also helps for when I export the videos to YouTube. It also won't be copyright claimed on YouTube either. That's looking pretty good. What do you guys think? I think I'm going to add a little bit of green reflected here. Excellent. Got it, beautiful. I'll take it. Right now it looks a little off because the white, or the bright highlight isn't quite reading as a highlight yet, but we're going to fix that in a minute. Too hard edge there. Alright, have a good one, Green Count. Thanks for stopping by. I'm probably going to do this for at least another hour, hour and a half, so if you're back by then, I'll still be around here. This is working, but only barely. I think I need to work on the highlights in her skin to get this all to kind of come together, because right now it looks weird. I know it's going to look good when I'm done, but I always hate that in-between step, like the halfway done point of working on pieces, because it's always it always looks bad when it's in the in-between stage. Oh, need new music. See, I was listening to Rage Against the Machine. Let's listen to their first album. So let's do the highlights in her skin now. So since her skin's so pale, there's not going to be a lot to do here. So pretty much the whole idea is just going to be lighten it up a tad to show kind of the light hitting it, and then blur this line to kind of make it feel like light is kind of bleeding into the shadow. And we'll do some lighting. Oh, we'll probably do some line holds, some lighting effects. So here we go. Helps if I'm on the right layer. Oops, that's too much. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So let's soften up that shadow line, and then let's see how it looks after that. What do you guys think so far? Actually, before I blur it, I think what I want to do. Create kind of a soft blend like that. Okay, the shadow's working good. The expressions and pointing in the picture. It should be if we're doing, if you're doing as an illustrator any kind of character work. The expression is super important. The two most important parts is the expressions in the face and the hand gesture. If you can nail both the hand gesture and the facial expression, you're gonna have a pretty good looking character there. So that airbrushing helped a little bit, but now I'm going to use my blur tool here to kind of even it out. Might come back in with the blending brush. I'm glad you like the eyes, but I'm not even done with the eyes yet. If I do my job right here, when I'm done with the eyes, they're gonna look stunning. So the whole idea I'm doing here is the hard shadow is good in a lot of times, in a lot of places, but it was preventing it from looking kind of natural, or as natural as it should be. So by blurring these edges, it kind of gives it more of a natural feel. At least that's the idea. Hopefully you guys agree. Not that there aren't hard shadows, like you can see, like there are hard shadows on this piece and hard highlights, but what I mean is the heavy shadow that's being cast. I don't want that to be too hard. So I'm going to switch over to my blending here. Blend this a little bit. Sometimes blurring creates like a weird... This blending's not doing too much better. Here we go. The airbrush. All right, thanks for stopping by, Karen. Yeah, I'll be here for probably another hour minimum. So after you're done eating, if you want to come on back, I'll be here. I'll definitely be going till at least 9, if not 9:30 local time. Strong eyelashes, sign of a superior elf. Can't disagree with that. So I keep looking at my preview over here to kind of see how it looks, the piece as a whole. It kind of helps me determine if I need to make any changes. I do need to blend this a little bit. Oops. Some blend, but rather blurry. Bye, Karen. Have a great night. Hopefully I'll catch you a little bit later. think that's looking pretty good. Only problem is softening the shadow kind of created just a little too hazy, so I'm going to have to go in here and create some hard edges. Shiny and splendid shadows. Excellent work. Thank you. I appreciate Kinnear. So, real softness that's kind of bothering me the most here is right around the cheeks. So I'm gonna, first thing I'm gonna switch to my airbrush. Switch to kind of pink here. Kind of just airbrush a little color into the cheeks. I don't know why I can't do this. Okay, here we go. There we go. So hopefully you guys watching can see how having soft shadows looks really nice, but it makes the form, you lose the form if you have too many soft shadows. So you need to kind of mix between soft and hard to really accurately depict the form. biggest thing right now is just trying to make sure I have a good balance between soft edges and like hard highlights and stuff like that. Let me do a couple line holds and then... So since I want this idea that the light is very bright on the right side here, I am going to use a very bright color line hold on the right side of the body. Still looks a little off. I think it's because I don't have the hair or the eyes done yet. I don't know, what are you guys' opinion? Is this working? I feel like I might have gone too soft on the main shadow, highlight shadow line. Not sure if I'll be able to solidify that without having to totally redraw it, but we'll cross that bridge later. All right, let's do her eyes. Yeah, I think you're right sideways. I think it might just look weird to me because I still have the really hard shadows in the hair. And I think maybe once I kind of soften that up and the whole thing is more uniform, I might change my mind. haven't saved in a while. Gotta save. Always save your work. Alright, let's see. So how these eyes look now, sideways? Flattery will get you everywhere. Soften up some of these lines here. Oops. Oops, I'm on the right layer. So I did good on her lips too. All right. getting there. Alright, so we've been working on this for about an hour and 45 minutes here. And I think it's looking good. But I think I want to take a break from this. Because I'm starting to second guess myself on how I handle these shadows. I still think, I think it looks good, but I think it's still too soft. And it could be the hair. But I think I need to just take a break from this for a second, come back to it with fresh eyes. So let's switch gears. Let's save it first. Oh, I already did. Good. So let's switch gears and let's go work on Samurai Robot Detective. That way I can give my eyes a rest, kind of come back with fresh eyes in a little bit, and we can keep on working on that in just a little bit. Just need a little bit of a little break. Yeah, now this character's name is Shadow Knight. It's another original character. That's pretty much all I ever work on when I do commissions, are other people's original characters. Oh, hey, new follower. Hey, L4 Homer JS, how are you doing? Man, the current stream boss is getting low on HP. They only have 290 HP left. So that means, let's see, if we can get 2 more followers and 90 bits, that'll knock him out. Or 1 subscription will knock him out. 290 bits will knock him out. What else? What else does damage? Donations does damage. So $2.90 in donations will knock him out. So those are all those are all different ways to do damage to the boss. And Rain Retribute, if you're watching, if you donate any bits or subscribe or any of that, that'll heal you. So that's I think that's kind of the fun thing with the boss. Anyway, back to the drawing. Enough with me staring at my feed screen and talking about the boss. Whoever designed this character is a genius. Yeah, excuse me, to my shame, I did not research this character a whole lot. I usually don't, just because I do have so many commissions. I don't have time to do deep research of every... Oh, that's no good. I'll make sure I'm on the right layer. It's a genius. It's a genius. Alright, so the way... Now this character, I'm going to handle inking this character a little bit different than how I normally do. Because there's so much black in here. I've obviously selected black. Oh, you like my line work? Thank you. Hopefully it'll be even better when I ink it. So, to kind of save myself a little bit of time trying to ink all of this, I have the lasso fill tool here. I'm just going to fill in black. Now, I'm going to go back in after all of this and put in hatchings and all that stuff. But this basically gets all the major blocks of ink out of the way. Hey, Kitty Elfie, how are you? Welcome to my stream. Oh, need more music. Oh, I don't need more music. For some reason it paused. Oh well. Alright, my music's back. So we have, let's see, I'm up to 91 followers. So I think I mentioned this last week, but I think once I get 100 followers, I want to do another request stream like I did once I reached affiliate status. So tell your friends to subscribe. Well, they can subscribe if they want. I mean follow. Come and follow. Because once I reach 100, I'll do another request stream. There's a little voice in my head saying, no, you need to go back and finish that elf piece. How dare you move on to something else without finishing that first? I'm telling that part of my brain to shut up. So I need to look at that with fresh eyes. Oops. So I can make sure that comes out the best it can possibly come out. So this character, the way I've drawn him, is super heavy in shadow. So there's going to be, even though I kind of penciled out a lot of details, a lot of those details are going to get covered up by the shadow. It's going to look pretty cool when I'm done, but for right now it's looking kind of weird. But I appreciate you guys coming to visit me. 8:30 on a Saturday night. Man, we're actually doing pretty good with the chat. Wait, let's see, how many people? I don't know if you guys know this. Well, I'm sure you do. Everyone's on Twitch here. They give you kind of like achievements to unlock. So I'm trying to get to 10 people in the chat. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 6. So if we can get, during this stream, 4 more people in the chat, I can cross off that achievement on my Twitch list. Now, I don't know if you guys ever feel this way when you're creating your artwork, but whenever I complain about it the most when I'm coloring. Like, you know, case in point, like here, like this feels, because it's not done, it feels like there's so much wrong with the art. And I'm sure my feelings will change once I finish it. But even with inking right now, I'm inking here and I'm like, oh, this looks so bad. What am I doing? It's just because it's incomplete. Once I start getting the lines, start putting in some textures. Once I start getting all that stuff in, it's gonna look good. My stupid brain is like, it's awful. You're doing it wrong. I am curious, since I was talking about it earlier, do any of you guys have any opinion on the stream boss thing? Do you guys think that's also fun, or am I just a loser? Do you guys not have any opinion about it? It's just whatever? Alright, I think that does it for my big spot blacks. Yeah, very RPG. I know, that's why I'm a sucker for RPGs, so that's why I put it in my stream, because I thought it'd be fun. I often think, maybe I'm alone in that. So I gotta say, even though I like doing color work, I get so much more satisfaction from doing line art. Like, doing this coloring, it looks good, I like it, it's satisfying, but I love doing line art so much more. And then I'm a sucker for black and white art in general. In fact, depending on how productive I am today and tomorrow morning, I might do some comic work on stream tomorrow. We'll see. So I do have a bunch of commissions to get through. If I get through this one and the elf one, that's at least 6 more I have to complete on my list. So as to be responsible, I should work on those commissions on stream tomorrow as well. But I do want to make some comics. I do want to keep things, keep up a variety for you guys so you guys don't get bored with my work. So I don't know. I have to kind of just see how things go, I guess. And if you guys have any preferences. You might notice I'm being a little loose with the line art here, since we have like kind of a detective noir kind of feel happening. If I'm a little bit looser, it'll give an additional gritty feeling, which I think will suit this style a bit more. This is actually going to be a colored piece, believe it or not. I feel like it should have been a black and white, just because of the feel that this has, being kind of a very noir feeling to it. I feel like it would work best as a black and white piece, but he wants me to color it, and I am happy to do so. I know most of you guys watching just have me on in the background. That's super cool. That's fine. But if any of you guys have questions about my art process, what I'm doing, all that stuff, feel free to ask. I'm here to talk to you guys. So, I think I'm done listening to Rage Against the Machine here. Any suggestions of what music I should put on next? Nickelback. Get out. Look at this face. Alright, I'll forgive you. Let's see. Let's see, what do I want to talk about? Oh, Slipknot. Slipknot is kind of one of those weird bands where when they were first introduced to me, I loved them, and they're good. They're a good band. And then they kind of went through kind of a, I don't know what I'd call it, mainstream phase, where they're trying to make their music more marketable, which is fine. I don't blame them. You know, if you're a professional musician, you gotta sell albums or else you're gonna be poor. So you gotta make it more marketable. But I kind of didn't. I didn't hate it. I didn't really like the direction they went into. And then I feel like they went back to their roots after that, and I feel like that was a really good album after that. And they were definitely my they were my introduction to, like, you know, heavy metal, death metal, hardcore, all that stuff. Because after I learned about Slipknot is when I, you know, found Killswitch Engage and I'm blanking really hard. The other bands. Why am I blanking so hard? Like Poison the Well, and there was a band I started listening to after I was introduced to Slipknot. What's the band's name? What's the band's name that Killswitch Engage? There was a band called Overdrive, and the members of that band split into two different bands, Killswitch Engage and the other one, and I can't remember. Oh my god, this is killing me. Yeah, they definitely have changed. It's and they're fine. What they changed to, the music they changed to, is fine. I don't hate it. It's just not what got me into them. Which has got to be really tough for a band, because when people get into your music for a certain style, I guess I can say the same thing with my art. You know, people get into it for a certain aesthetic, and you don't want to do that forever. So you try different things, you try different styles, different music that you're interested in. And then the people who, got into you with your early stuff, they don't really want your new stuff because it's not your old stuff. But it's not fair to expect you to do the same music forever. So I guess that's just how it goes. Like, if the music changes, it's not for you. You don't have to listen to it. But maybe they'll find new fans in the new style that will support them. That's also good. Alright, this is actually looking pretty good. We're getting there. We're getting there. I gotta tell you, when I was sketching this out, I wanted to have the sword kind of hanging off to the right, or his right, our left, as the viewer. So I originally had drawn him like gripping the sword, and had it but at his wrist, had it bending over to. Do I have my bow in here? Hold on. So I had him gripping the sword like this, but I had it so his wrist was tilted way over. And it wasn't until I held this to get a reference when I realized your wrist can't bend that way. So I had to totally change the grip on the sword. Alright. I had to totally change the grip on the sword so that so I can still have the sword kind of hanging off to the right in a more relaxed way without making it look like I broke his wrist. So I like the solution I came up with. I think that hand is pretty good. I'm a little disappointed I couldn't do it the way I initially imagined it, but you know, human anatomy and physics and stuff just wouldn't let me do it. One advantage to working real loose is you don't have to get really precise with your lines. You can just kind of scribble them on. As long as they're in the ballpark, it's going to look good. So now that we're getting closer to, well, we're past 9 o'clock, at least in my time zone. I don't know what time it is by you guys. Now we're getting into actual Saturday night fun stuff. Not here. No, not here. We're not doing. We're drawing. I don't have many friends. My art's my friend. Which is why I appreciate you guys are hanging out with me. Because I'd be doing, if I wasn't streaming, I'd be doing exactly what you're seeing me do. So it's since I'm doing the exact same thing, it's nice to hang out with some people while I do it. Even if it is online. Shortcut here. Let's use a curved line. I'm the 21st century Bob Ross. I wish I was that awesome. I did see this amazing, I guess you can call it a meme. It was just kind of a joke post. And it was basically a picture of Mr. Rogers. And the text on the image said, I want the end of the Mr. Rogers movie to end with Mr. Rogers meeting up with Bob Ross and hinting at the PBS movie cinematic universe. And that cracked me up. Because I would like that too. That would be awesome, right? I mean, like, I know it's kind of a joke, but, like, seriously, though, I would love it there to be a series of films talking about all the good that PBS has done. Between Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross and Sesame Street. They really have. They've taught a lot of kids a lot of good stuff, like, and not just things like, you know, how to count in your alphabet, but like Mr. Rogers helped teach kids how to deal with their feelings. You know, Bob Ross not only taught how to. Bob Ross was more for adults than kids, but like still helped a lot of people learn how to paint, just appreciate art. And even now, a lot of people have told me that they watch Bob Ross reruns to kind of help relax. And that's, I mean, that's not nothing. Captain Kangaroo, Howdy Doody, Cowboy Bob. You know, I'm not familiar with Cowboy Bob. That's probably the only one I'm not familiar with. Oh yeah, the new Mr. Rogers film, Sideways? Yeah, that's gonna make me cry too. I know Captain Kangaroo, I know Howdy Doody, but I don't know Cowboy Bob. Who's Cowboy Bob? Kitty Elfie. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. Or maybe I did know that, and I just forgot. It's been a while. Bozo the Clown. I remember Bozo the Clown. Although, as good Bozo the Clown was for kids, I don't know with all the scary clown movies out, I don't know if anyone is in the market to watch a good clown movie. Yeah. That would be a very bold cinematic universe. And I am in favor for it. Like, I feel like Hollywood has been so boring lately, and even though having all those movies about those people wouldn't be a quote-unquote original idea, it would be a bold one. And I think that's what Hollywood needs right now, is some really bold ideas for stories. Oh, absolutely. Have you, Kitty Elfie, ever watched, or you can't watch it, listen to the old Superman radio programs? You can, if you haven't, you can listen to them online. I would have to take a minute to Google them. I don't have the link off the top of my head. Yeah, the TV show is good. The radio show is fantastic. If you like old Superman, I strongly recommend it. They probably are. There's definitely a website that's an archive of all the Superman radio drama episodes. They're a little annoying. The show itself isn't annoying, but what is annoying is the commercial ads. Because back in those days, advertisements were done live. So like they were doing the radio show, and then it went to a commercial break, and the actors would step away from the microphone, and then the voice announcer doing the ad would step up to the microphone, do the ad, and then he would step away, and then the actors would step back to the microphones to continue the drama. So on one hand, it's quite impressive, but on the other hand, they're kind of annoying because they're targeted towards kids, so they're very, and they're the exact same ad every time. The voice actor is reading the same script every time, so it's the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. I don't know if anyone would. Like, especially Superman. Like, I mean, the original Batman, like in the 1930s Batman, Golden Age Batman, he was created to be kind of a dark and gritty and scary guy. But Superman never was. And I don't think people would, the new incarnations of Superman, the new movie incarnations, I should say, I don't know if anyone would go run to that Superman for help. But people always say, I say people, there are certain people who always say that Superman isn't relatable, or Superman, Superman comics are boring because he's too powerful. And I always tell them, if you think Superman's a boring comic book character, then it's because you're not reading the comic books. You just think that's what the comic books are like. Yeah, Wonder Woman does care about people. I mean, not only does she cares about people to the point where she left a place called Paradise Island to help people. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good indicator that she cares about people. Although I think I don't know, feel free to disagree with me. I think they did a pretty good job of showing that compassion in the Wonder Woman movie. I haven't seen the new Captain Marvel movie, so I can't comment on that. But I'll take your word for it. I do agree with your general idea. Like, heroes in the movies need to act more like heroes. And less like psychopaths. Yeah, I would agree with you, Kitty Alfie. That would be the other change I'd make. I would change the whole third act. I think that movie was fantastic until Ares showed up. And I hated it at that point. Not the whole movie, just that part. And it wasn't so bad that it ruined the movie for me, but I feel like they took a very strong plot and just ruined it with that ending. But yeah, I agree with you. I would make that change. Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984, I'm excited for. I love the look of her armor in the promotional materials. It looks like they're doing a version of Alex Ross's Kingdom Come armor. Oh yeah, well, when you're talking World War I, everyone were the worst. All of them. It wasn't like World War II where there was like definitely someone was in the right and someone was in the wrong. World War I, everyone was wrong. Everyone messed up. If you, actually, those of you who are interested in World War I, even just a little bit, there's a YouTube channel called The Great War. And I don't know what they're doing now, but the channel started in 2014. 2014 to, and they started on the day World War I started. And every week they came out with a new video that told what happened that week 100 years ago during World War I. And they did that every single week for 4 years until the war ended. And it's awesome. Like, I can't even tell you how incredible of a job they do. So if you like history and you have any interest in World War I cannot recommend The Great War enough. And again, I don't know what they're doing now. I kind of stopped watching after the war ended. I think they're doing some like aftermath stuff. Because just like any war, like it's not like the armistice happens and then everyone's just happy after that. Yeah, I strongly recommend it if that's something you're interested in. Oh, and then, yeah, in that Kingdom Come comic, when Captain Marvel is standing over him, oh man. You know, Alex Ross's art is fantastic, and he deserves everything that he's gotten. But I do kind of miss some of his comics because he's a great painter, but he's pretty good at his sequential storytelling. But what makes that panel even scarier, though, is Captain Marvel isn't in full control either. So that's what makes it scarier. It's that there's that power that he's wielding, but he's not in control of it. Yeah, all the European powers were idiots and awful back then. So there was no one deserved to win. It was awful. Yeah, that's the thing. All the European countries were garbage to all their colonies. Especially if there were brown people in those colonies. So what do you guys think so far? Is samurai robot detective living up to the hype? Yeah, he does look like he came out in 1935. The ascot on his neck definitely helps with that. So I'm thinking, let's see. I am going to... I've been doing this for about 2 3/4 hours. So I think what I'm going to try and do is get the inks done of this main character, and then I think I'm going to call it a night. So we'll go for we'll say about 15-20 more minutes, and we might call it a night. So you know, he does have some similarities to the Shadow, doesn't he? I don't know if that's just a coincidence or if that's on purpose. If we're meant to kind of think of the Shadow. Yeah, I was happy to. It's always funny whenever I get a commission and I'm asked to draw someone's original character. I always dread it. Not because I don't want to draw their original character, and not because I think their original character is bad, but sometimes, more than sometimes, you know, the person commissioning me isn't an artist. So they don't necessarily have any reference material for me, or accurate material for me. So I always dread it because I'm like, oh no, am I gonna have to? How much guesswork am I gonna have to do with this character? And I was very fortunate that that was not the case with here. It was very, very clear what this character was going to look like. And I knew as soon as I saw it that it was going to be fun. So that's always great. Yeah, well, you know what? That's... Superficially, maybe that sounds like a silly idea, your butterfly cat example, but this is the thing. Every character is kind of... If you just explained every character just what they looked like, most of them sound awful. Like, try explaining, like, Wolverine. Like, oh, he has the worst haircut ever, wears yellow spandex and has just metal claws on his hands. It doesn't sound super interesting. It sounds a little dumb. Or like Spider-Man, like he's a teenager that can climb walls. It's like, but you know, if someone tries to hit him, he has a spider sense that warns him so he can dodge things out of the way. I mean, that sounds dumb too. So it's not the character, it's not the description, it's not even necessarily the design, although the design is important. It's the story behind the character that makes them interesting. You know, a kitten with butterfly wings could be either an amazing character or it could be a dumb character, depending on the story behind it and how the character is utilized. You guys are funny. You know, you're right. Wolverine is an adolescent fantasy, but you have to also remember that's what he was created for. When Wolverine was created, comics were for adolescents. So, if you want to sell a comic to adolescents, you put an adolescent fantasy in there, and there you go. I mean, it's okay to not like them. That's totally fine. But it's like saying, I don't like this kid's cartoon because it's too childish. That's fine. That's fair. But it's also not for you. You know, like a children's cartoon. And so it makes sense that you don't like the character designed for adolescents when you're not an adolescent. I like to have like Superman be at a more usable power level. I'm not sure I know what that means. Well, think old Superman, like pre-Crisis Superman. He used to be like God level. Like literally, like he would go toe to toe with Darkseid. Darkseid was like literally a god. So he was usually only called, like he had his own comics, but in the teen books he was usually only called in when like things got real bad. Because he was too powerful in the 70s and early 80s. Kryptonite was actually invented in the radio show. That's why if you like Superman, you gotta listen to the radio show. Like, so many things were invented in the radio show. Like, Superman flying was created in the show. The Kryptonite was created in the radio show. Yeah. I've been talking about it a lot. I'm going to find the link here. Let's see.
They have triumph over hate.
Whoops. All right. Let's see. No, you're fine. Don't worry. So here is Superman's radio dramas. And then my particular favorite one, let's see. I think there's a YouTube play channel here. So this is a YouTube playlist of my one of the most famous ones one of the most famous radio episodes of Superman is when Superman literally goes and fights the KKK. So that one's very, very good. Exactly. That's that second link I put in. That's the YouTube a YouTube playlist of the story arc where Superman fights the KKK. My pleasure. And like I said, they're very good. It's easy to kind of hand wave them, saying like, oh, you know, they're these 1940s, 1950s radio shows. You know, they're gonna be silly and corny and hokey, but they are really well acted. They are the Foley work is fantastic. The storyline is ultimately for kids, so they're not like super complex, but they're also not terrible. If you like comics, you'll like these storylines. Should actually look up to see if those radio dramas are in the public domain, because I know a lot of them are. Like I know like the Phantom and the Shadows radio dramas, they're in the public domain. They are, what I might do, instead of playing music, I might just put on like some radio dramas, and then you guys can watch me draw and listening to superhero radio dramas. That might be a fun idea. What do you guys think of that? Well, you don't have to listen to my my stupid face talk. You can listen to something interesting that maybe you want to normally listen to. You can watch me make some art. Putting a movie in the lower corner is distracting. I don't think I understand what you mean by that. That's true. Although I was thinking if I was going to put on the radio drama, I would have the mic off. I would just talk to you guys through the chat and not actually speak. Yeah, I mean, I love talking to you guys. Don't get me wrong. It's why I have the camera on and all that stuff. I like chatting with you guys. But, you know, just for change of pace. Every now and again, maybe like once a week, do like a radio drama and draw. A drama and draw, if you will. Oh, some people play a movie during their streams. I guess that's okay. I feel like if that's happening, like, why are you streaming? Do you want people to watch the movie, or do you want people to watch you? I want you guys to watch me. Watch me. But seriously, like, you know, watching me draw is great, but like, you don't want to do it in dead silence. That's why I have music playing. Alright, guys. I've been at this for over 3 hours. I think I didn't quite finish inking him, but I got pretty close. Mostly just some details in the boots and the textures here. Yeah, I like his design too. I think it looks really good. It's very pulpy. I'm a big fan of that pulp look. Like, I still need to put in a lot of texture in him. Still got probably another half hour of inks to do on him. But I'm almost done. But regardless, I do need to... It's been over 3 hours, so I definitely need... Is his belt wider? Oh, maybe. Yeah, a little bit. That's better. Yeah, I'm actually have no idea how I'm going to color this, because I have this entire city in the background here. And, like, I do not want to color all of this. Oh, man. So I don't know how I'm going to handle this background. I need it to look dramatic and cool. But I don't want to spend 10 hours coloring the background, so that's a problem for future Sean. Well, definitely red. His ascot is red. But the commissioner did pay for full color, so that's what he's gonna get, full color. But I've had a great time with you guys. I hope you had a good time with me. I definitely do need to take a break and probably call it a night. I'm gonna do the obligatory, if you like my work, if you like my streams, take time to give me a follow. If you really want to support what I'm doing, give it a subscribe. Definitely check out. Hey, Kitty Elfie, thank you for following. See, that's why I have to ask at the end, because people will forget if I don't ask. Anyway, thank you. Oh man, we're so close. Only 190 HP to knock out that boss. Maybe tomorrow's stream we'll knock out the boss tomorrow. And speaking of which, I am going to stream tomorrow, probably early afternoon, probably around, we'll say probably around 1, maybe 2. So if you follow me on my social media, and all the links down below to my social media, if you follow me on social media, I'll post like a 15-minute notice before I go live. And if you follow me, you can set up notifications so that you know that I go live then. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Do the things. You can support me on Patreon. Speaking of which, let's go to our outro screen. Look at this. I finally figured out how to make it so the text isn't all pixelated. I'm slowly learning. But yeah, patrons get neat stuff like early access to comics and digital downloads, and they get to look at my art process. Higher tier gets commissions every month. So I gotta thank my patrons for supporting me. Ingers McBeard, Anthony Dosimo, Brooke Clayton, Chickadee, DevDuck01, Doug Hogan, Elizabeth, John Soel, Lawrence Winston, Lily Avonley, Matt Powell, MC McClure, Quixie Gix, I say that wrong every time, sorry, Red Blaze, Seth Talley, Shadowmacer66, Taylor Onesti, Tony T. Timonen, oh man, I'm going to say this wrong, Vertizontal, got it, and Zerial. Thank you guys so much for supporting me on Patreon. I can't do it without you guys. If you want some cool perks and join these guys, the links, you see the URL there, but links down below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yes, you're right, Kitty Elfie, he does need a 1937 chord. All right. I think we're calling it a night. Thank you, everyone. You're fantastic. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.